Science is expensive. Science is expensive. Science costs money, a lot of money, and it costs a lot of energy. Science is expensive. Science is expensive. Science is expensive. Science is expensive. Science is real expensive. It is expensive. It's expensive in energy. That's a stainless steel Epsom salt battery. We have all sorts of things. We have a little computer-based oscilloscope, voltmeters, radiation meter, batteries, copper wire, DC to AC converter, lead acid batteries, tools, Arduinos. We have saved up aluminum cans, steel, big solar panel in the window. Just so we can start a fire if we need to. With a little battery and Epsom salt. Lots of scientific knowledge, medical knowledge. Got the Oxford textbook of medicine. Closet with some stuff in it, some tools. Got a lot of power tools, as you can see. Got a few power tools. Drills and bits and saws and Dremel tools and diamond blades and air pumps and grinders and angle grinders and cutting wheels and hand saws and sandpaper and stuff like that. Got an arc welder down there. We got spare pans, a lot of resistors, electronics, transistors, soldering irons, stuff like that. Two microscopes, some heating elements for some old coffee pots. We could do a lot if we just have more money. You really have to advance into basically a certain amount of energy to conduct science. I mean, everything requires different amounts of energy, but it is quite expensive to make an application actually usable and recyclable or whatever, or even reworkable. But basically, we work on a lot of science, and we dream about stuff, and that's what we do. But science and energy, science is energy expensive. Everything about science is expensive. You need to think about your projects and do as much research as you can and look at other people's work. Learn chemistry primarily and quantum physics before you ever really really conduct too many experiments unless you know that the experiment isn't going to be costly. But there are some simple experiments you can do. Those are the good ones, are the simple ones. But like laboratory, those are quite taxing. Really time consuming mostly. And then you need certain physical instrumentation to make measurements, and really complicated to do certain kinds of lab. I mostly have my own little computer workshop, and some tools, power tools, and microscopes, and some chemicals and stuff that I work with, and some biological, simplistic measurements. Like I can detect cancer and a couple different forms of cancer, and can detect immunodisease a little bit, one form of it, and then can also detect sickle cell anemia, and can detect also bacterial infections, and stuff like that. Can detect other parasites as well with the basic high-end microscope. Then we have like little water purification. Water purification is important in chemistry. You need to know what you're working with and how strong it is and how reactable it is. There are a lot of violent reactions you don't want to cause a fire, an explosion, or an injury. You gotta be ultra safe. You need to know your chemistry. I mean, I wouldn't even mess with it at all unless you knew exactly what it was and how safe it was. You need to have a fire extinguisher, and you probably should wear protection, but I don't always wear protection because I usually don't get involved with things that are extremely reactive. I don't do any extreme reactions. Work on some more simplistic things, more reliably safe reactions. And then that's pretty much it. But I'm still in the learning phase of science, and I know quite a bit involving biochemistry, instrumentation, mass spectrometry, chemical reactivity, the standard of chemical reaction, stoichiometry, a bit of quantum physics. I'm not real quantum physical, but it doesn't matter. But it's all about costly science. Science costs a lot. And if you don't have the money to do it, you're not going to get very far. Science is extremely expensive, and basically, the less money you have, the more of an in market you are. You're more like going to buy your science. Some things are producible, but like simplistic things like batteries and certain chemicals and polymers and stuff. But you can melt metals and do all kinds of things, but like those are all important things to do too. So I mean, sometimes science is really simple, but like I said, it's costly in energy. Anytime you do science, it needs to be successful, and it also needs to render something that gives you back something great from the science. I mean, you honestly don't want something expensive that doesn't work that well, or doesn't give you energy, doesn't create a needed system or reliable resource or whatever. Science is too expensive, and it's too who knows what. I mean, it can really mess up your life. Science, getting involved in science is a deep, deep subject. It's extremely complicated sometimes. So that's all for this video. This video is going to be called "Science is Expensive and costs a lot with energy."